Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with Argentina-born, New York City-based jazz saxophonist Julieta Eugenio. We caught up with her to discuss her new 2024 CD, Stay, and a life lived very well in the jazz world. She began studying music under sage instruction that began with piano and then moved to saxophone and clarinet. In 2008, she started her journey to the big city of Buenos Aires to continue her music studies and then was accepted to study at Queens College for a jazz master's degree in New York City. She continues to do very well driving into the jazz world. Enjoy this interview.
Thank you for taking a minute out for the program. I appreciate it.
Of course, yeah. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, you bet. So I've really enjoyed your music. I've already profiled you on the show. I really dig the new album.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you bet. Before we get to Stay, I want to know, 4 years ago we were trying to figure this pandemic out, how long it's going to last, all the ramifications of it. How did you ultimately get through that time period, and how did it change the way that you do things, or how did it influence this new album?
Yeah, it was a very tough time, and of course, I guess like everyone else, I went through all kinds of moods, from thinking that, maybe this is not it, like giving up on music or keep doing it. But honestly, for me, it really inspired me. I guess it was a moment for, getting closer to my inner self, right? So I kind of like started writing more music, drawing at the time as well. And that kind of like gave me the hope to keep putting music out there for the first time, because I never done it before, and that was something that I always wanted to do. So I felt like, okay, if the world ends tomorrow, I want to at least put out something over there. So I guess that was inspiration for me, in terms of like pandemic and the world going crazy. And I'm glad that happened, because it was like a door opened suddenly, and I kind of like started getting more into my musical thing, like I guess that's what pandemic was for me. Of course, like I said, it had many moments that I was like, what's going to happen? Are we going to be able to play again? But somehow something came out, and yeah, that was it for me,
So talk to me about your album, Stay, and kind of how you artistically put this together.
This one was very, very special because it's different than the first one. It's more like an inner, like a spiritual searching, I guess of course it's the same trio, which we've been working with the guys a lot, and I felt like we are a band, so I could hear these tunes with them. But I feel like it gets more into a spiritual searching, and kind of like I wrote a poem about it as well. So it's all the tunes are connected. There are some breaths, which it has to do with this kind of like inner search connection with yourself and nature. And I wanted to show that on the music with the breaths, and that's why I have like 4 breaths, which is like kind of like a minute to reflect and pace yourself and connect with yourself. So that's why there's 2 tracks that I did with Leo Genovese, which is a piano player, Argentinian piano player, and he was playing Rhodes on 2 of the tracks. And that was definitely something new, something different. And there's 2 of the breaths that I did with Jonathan Barber as well. So
take me back to your beginnings. Tell me where you were born and raised and how jazz became your life.
That's yeah. So I started playing when I was like 9 or 10. I asked my mom for piano lessons. Somehow I always was obsessed with the piano since I was little. Like in like kindergarten, the music teacher, I was like always looking at the piano, and I asked my mom, and she took me to a conservatory to learn piano. So that's when I started. And then the institute. I'm from a very small town in Buenos Aires. It's called Necochea, which is at the south. It's by the beach, and so the professor would teach all kinds of instruments. So he asked me what another instrument I would want to learn, and I don't know, because he offered me to join the big band that they had. So he was like, look, you can join the big band. What instrument would you like to play? Besides the piano, because I was, learning piano. And I don't know why I say saxophone, honestly. It's kind of like a mystery. And that's how I started, so, and then I played some Dixieland, because he had like a Dixieland band. So I started learning clarinet as well. And that's how I started. That's the really beginning. Yeah.
So, who were influences, jazz musicians that were influential on you?
Well, I mean, of course, all the masters. Sonny Rollins is the first one that comes to my mind, because I love Sonny, but Lester Young was a huge influence as well. Charlie Parker, well, of course, John Coltrane. I would say as well, as piano players, I love Errol Garner and Art Tatum are like, one of my favorites. I'm just always amazed by like melody. For me, melody is everything. So, I mean, of course, all the masters have that. So, but it's hard to pick a few ones, because I love so many of them. So, but yeah, I could say those. Yeah.
So let's pare this list down. What was the first live jazz show that you ever saw that blew you away, that made a real impact?
That's a tough one, because I've been the first time. I guess it was in Necochea, where I'm from. That I was a kid, and there was like a jazz festival, and I think that's the first time that I saw like a live show. But yeah, I guess it's that. I didn't see many live shows when I was a kid, though, because I was not that exposed to jazz over there. So, it was mainly, I guess, through YouTube videos and stuff like that. But yeah, I guess that, of course, when I came to New York, everything, that was like a huge experience for me, and it was the first time that I left the country, and New York was the first time in the U.S. so as well. So that was mind-blowing for sure.
So, what do you like the best about being a professional musician?
I guess what I like the best about being an artist is like the continuously hunger to learn and search and get closer to spiritualism. It's something that I've been really into lately. And of course, being in New York, you're like across so many amazing artists, and I guess it's so beautiful to connect with people through this art. It makes us better as human beings, and it's like you get into another kind of dimension. You know what I mean? It's like you pass the all other kinds of communications through music. It's so magical that I guess that's what I love the most, Yeah. I don't know if you understood it,
Yeah.
but
No, I get it. Yeah, I totally do. So, why do you love jazz?
Why do I love jazz? It's certain kind of like a freedom of expression, and I feel like improvisation is one of my favorite things of jazz, and I think it's like the expression. You can really express yourself with any kind of music, right? But I feel like jazz has this kind of you are kind of free to do whatever you want, and I think I like that, and I feel like jazz musicians are very open to any kind of music. So I don't know. I guess it's that.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what's coming up for you as far as live shows, promoting the album, any activity here in the summer into the fall?
I'm playing at a jazz festival. I think it's the Northampton Jazz Festival. But that's more in September. As of this month, I'm kind of like writing a lot of music, preparing more stuff, and then for sure, more things coming up. But I was on tour in Europe earlier when I released my album, and I had a bunch of album release shows. So I guess now I'm on the next step, preparing it. Yes.
Excellent. This has been great. Thank you so much for taking some time out to talk about the new material and talk about your life and music. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players and minds in Argentina, New York City, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. If you want to hear more Neon Jazz interviews, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to us at YouTube, and for everything Neon Jazz, go to theneonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.